Appearances of indifference between US President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu have spread in the media. This is strange because the relationship between the two was even more excellent than excellent. I mean, Netanyahu, during the brief period that Trump ruled until now, visited America twice, once in February and the second time on April 7th. They accepted and the meeting was friendly and there were many positive comments from both parties. Then we saw this strange reaction that we were all surprised by. Between the two, there are clear and announced manifestations of apathy in the media and in newspapers, and the offices of Netanyahu's office and the White House office in America commented on them, which had manifestations, including, for example, that Israeli radio announced that Trump's office could completely cut off communications from Netanyahu's office. Of course, this is something dangerous and unprecedented. It is also possible that the flower of the kafwa was a date in which Israel was ignored in some decisions related to Israel, decisions in the Middle East. America takes it without going back to Israel, which is Israel. Doctor, it is greatly involved in the issue, and it is also apparent that Trump excluded Israel from visiting the Middle East. When he visited the Middle East, it was expected that he would visit Israel. Even in some reports, it was said that he would visit it before. Some people said that he would visit her after he went to Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the Emirates, but he completely excluded her from the visit, and this was something that was also remarkable as well. And the dismissal of Trump's national security advisor because of his communication with Netanyahu in secret talks. Trump dismissed him from office with sensitivity. The position is also the US Secretary of Defense canceled a repeat visit next week to Israel without setting another date for this visit. All of these are appearances that say, no, there is a problem. There is a problem between Trump and Netanyahu. The problem is worsening. Why? That's the problem. What are the expectations? What do you mean files? Who was in a dispute between the two races because of his nature? When we study what is wrong with the files, is it possible? We know we benefit from the reality that we are seeing. First, the Gaza file. Gaza, Trump did not want the war to continue. He did not want what? The ceasefire that happened for the first time is that he is being saved in this way because he sees that he still has a chance or has hope that he will take the reconstruction of Gaza. And he is guiding things to turn them into a free zone. And by the way, he announced this during his last visit to the Middle East on Thursday, and declared that he wants to turn Gaza into a free zone, and even said that he wants to own Gaza because America remains the owner of Gaza and is the one who manages things like this. I mean, it is very frankly, for him, this continuous strike and destruction, the one that continues, the unexploded shells and all these things may hinder the reconstruction process that he dreams of doing in Gaza in the future, as well as the tension. The tension in the region that can escalate will escalate, but what he is aiming for or hoping for will not happen, as he did not want Netanyahu. I did not consider Trump's opinion on this issue, and the war began. So a dispute arose between the two over this file. This is a tiger, number one, the Gaza file. Number two, a very dangerous file, the Iran file, because Netanyahu also saw that there was no point in negotiating with Iran, even if it was supposed that they would strike a military strike on anyone. My nuclear projects in Iran, or striking any military interest inside Iran to threaten to stop this issue, I do not want to take a final decision as to the description of the nuclear project. The dirt walked on another track, also far from consulting Israel, which is the track of negotiations, made a round and 2, 3 and 4, meaning a factor of 4 rounds of negotiations with Iran, and the language of dialogue began to remain calmer. It has some kind of possibility to allow uranium enrichment in. Iran has controls and conditions, and in the possibility that he will lift economic sanctions on Iran. All of this means in calm language. So of course, what is this talking about? Make a gap between the two. Each one is on a path in this matter. The third file is the Syria file. Also, this is one of the files that surprised Israel very much because Trump had a surprise meeting with A. Ahmed Street. Is Syria and promised to lift sanctions on Syria, and he looks like he wants to make an agreement with Syria. There are declared needs and undeclared needs. All of this may not be in the interest of Israel, and this is without returning to Israel as well. This also means that this decision was surprising because Israel's nature allowed the sky and land of Syria agreements with America. Between Syria and America, it is possible to limit this matter. This could have an impact on Israeli national security, and therefore Netanyahu expected to be in dialogue and discussion on this issue, especially since Netanyahu considers America's recognition that the Golan is an integral part of Israel. This means one of the greatest successes it achieved in the previous period. Now, Trump, I think, wants to normalize with Syria. On what grounds? Will the Golan return to Syria, or will he leave the Golan with Israel? Doesn't that mean these are sensitive issues? Find what it was. Netanyahu expects that he will be involved in the dialogue, but it did not also happen. The fourth file is dangerous, the Saudi file. He is talking about whether it is possible for America to support the Saudi nuclear project. Saudi Arabia wants to operate nuclear reactors, and America is possible or supports this issue, and also without returning to Israel and without normalization between Tel Aviv and Riyadh. Of course, this is something for Israel is also a dangerous red line. The fifth file is the Yemen file, and this is also one of the dangerous files because America agreed with the Houthis without referring to Israel to stop military campaigns and stop airstrikes on Yemen, in exchange for the Houthis stopping attacking American ships or ships affiliated with America or those of America's friends in the passage from the Red Sea. Of course, Israel did not stop the war, and Israel continued the war with the Houthis. The Houthis are completing the war with Israel, so America excluded itself from the equation and made a bilateral agreement with the Houthis without returning to Israel. Of course, this ignited the world in Israel. The sixth and final matter, the sixth and final file is a very, very dangerous and very, very strange file, which is to communicate with Hamas and negotiate the release of a hostage. What holds dual Israeli-American citizenship, which is Alexander's chopsticks. Wow, the agreement, the dialogues and deliberations with the Gaza airborne prisoner. It was not announced by the Israeli side, meaning it was carried out directly between America and Hamas, and it is clear that the negotiations were friendly, quick and successful, and the American prisoner was actually released. The Israeli, and this was without Israel's knowledge. I mean, all Israel did was that it only stopped the beating at the time of releasing the prisoner so that there would be a kind of insurance for the prisoner, but all the agreements. And God knows what it is, no one announced what. What's the result? As a result of this issue, do you think they will bring in humanitarian aid? Do you think they will stop the war? Do you think they will put pressure on Israel to release this prisoner? A gesture means friendship, means a future need, God knows, but the witness is that Israel, of course, was very angry at this treatment and that America neglected it in this dialogue. Okay, I found the files that caused the problem. What is the result? The result? There may be many things left. Seriously, we will make some comments on these matters, and the days will reveal to us the situation to which we may be heading. The first thing is, in my opinion, we are not exaggerating these differences, and if the rift between America and Israel is over, then the issue is over. No, it may be a very temporary need. It may be a dispute between two people, between Trump, and even his ego is very high. And between Netanyahu and the disagreement between people, what does not change the ideology of the state, means the partnership between Israel. If America withdrew support, Israel could collapse instantly. We'll analyze this in an episode. No, it is possible that things will be resolved within a period. I will not say weeks, it may be days, it may be in an instant. Everything will be resolved. And keep in mind that the war on Gaza was American par excellence. I mean, without America's support in the Gaza war, Israel would not have never had the ability to complete the war for a year and a half. American weapons, American support, American veto, and everything was continued and limited. I mean, Biden's doctrines and the return of his face. Trump, he started using heavy weapons and heavy bombs. Biden could not forgive them. Originally, I mean, Trump himself has been supportive of the issue from the beginning. There are no expectations that it will mean a split between the two countries. The second point on the other side, God knows best, could happen. This could happen, this. God Almighty does whatever He wants. We, God willing, have an episode that we want to do in 2 or 3 days. What are you talking about? What if America withdrew its support for Israel? He does what He wills, Almighty. If America lifted support for Israel, Israel would collapse in an instant. This is a topic that needs analysis, and we will talk about it, God willing, in an episode. Separately, the third point is very, very important for Arabs and Muslims to exploit the events, exploit these circumstances. We have a circumstance like this. We did not expect it, but it happened to me. Readiness. If I take advantage of the event and see the best results, there are results that I can make now, agreements that I can make now, successes that we can achieve now that we cannot achieve under normal circumstances when there is a state of complete harmony between Netanyahu and Trump, between the American administration and the Israeli administration. And I now have an opportunity, if I achieve some gains, opening crossings, possible humanitarian relief, a certain world opinion, in one issue, overthrowing even the Netanyahu government and the extremist Yemeni government that does not want to stop this war, there may be a certain pressure. The Netanyahu government will fall. The entire entity will not fall, but another government will come. I mean, the burden is a little lighter on the people of Palestine and on the people of Islam in Palestine. The last one, perhaps on it, and we will conclude the episode with it, and it is also a point that may remain very dangerous, which is that this dispute may be contrived, meaning a tactical dispute, meaning an intentional one, that he shows on the scene a dispute between Netanyahu and Trump to achieve some interest, What does it mean? I mean, for example, we may infer from this dispute that America has become a friend to us, and we will not hesitate to reach the same agreement with Israel, so we accept America as a friend. We accept it in natural matters or normal matters, meaning, for example, we accept the issue of normalization as normalization is offered to Ahmed, the street president of Syria, without discussing much the Golan issue or other very sensitive issues. So much for defending the land of Syria. Why? Because the offer comes from a friend, and this friend now hates Netanyahu, shares with him, and is close to you. What do you find yourself coming up on this topic? This is the goal if he normalizes with Saudi Arabia and normalizes with Syria. He works an application with Iraq. He works, meaning anything if he alleviates the problems that Israel is facing in this period with the appearance of this temporary dispute, and then after that things return to normal after he has achieved what he wants. So we must be careful about this issue no matter what. The matter is, this situation is very repeated in history. We see disagreements between enemies and between partners fighting Muslims. A dispute occurs for a few hours. Britain and France were fighting Muslims. It is considered a dispute for them. And after that it is resolved, and thus the matter remains apparent. One thing and its results remain possible. Something else, we Muslims must pay good attention. If there's an opportunity, we should seize it. If there's caution, we should pay attention and warn against it. May God honor Islam and Muslims. May God's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you.